At 8:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, January 22nd, 2026, market. This is the moment the simulation just glitched. You have to see this to believe it. The Department of Justice, the DOJ, has officially filed a motion against the Department of Government Efficiency. They are calling us criminals. They are threatening my team with prosecution. For what? Did we steal money? Did we sell secrets to foreign adversaries? No. We dared to check the math. We ran a simple cross-reference on the federal ledger. Absolute insanity. Let's be blunt about what is happening. This isn't a legal maneuver. It is a confession of guilt. The DOJ claims DOGE violated data privacy by matching Social Security records against federal payrolls. Think about that logic. We took the list of people getting paid and matched it against the list of people who are actually alive. And because we did that, Washington is screaming. They are terrified. You don't sue the auditor unless the books are cooked. You don't handcuff the guy turning on the lights unless the room is full of roaches. This is the hypocrisy that drives me crazy. It is wild. These are the same people, the exact same apparatus that built the NSA. The government reads your emails. They track your location. They scan your bank transactions, over $600. They do all of that without a warrant, every single day, under the guise of national security. They have zero respect for your privacy. But the second DOGE says, hey, let's see who is actually receiving these billion-dollar checks. Suddenly it's a crisis. When they spy on you, it's safety. When we audit them, it's a crime. That is the definition of a broken system. They aren't protecting data. They are protecting the ghosts in the machine. They are protecting the dead, people cashing checks, and the bureaucrats double-dipping on your dime. They call it privacy. I call it a shield for corruption. Make no mistake, this is a kinetic strike. The deep state is firing a warning shot directly at President Trump. They know DOGE is an existential threat to their power structure. We aren't playing by their rules of slow committees and redacted papers. We are using raw data. We are using engineering speed, and because they can't outsmart us, they are trying to outlaw us. But here is the reality check. This lawsuit just proves we are exactly over the target. If we were wrong, they would be laughing. They aren't laughing. They are panicking. The war is on. So, why are they panicking? Why is the Department of Justice acting like we just broke into the Pentagon, when all we did was open an Excel spreadsheet? Because they know exactly what we found. They aren't protecting your data. They are protecting the identities of the ghosts, draining the national treasury. Let's look at this from a systems engineering perspective. In any complex network, you have signal and you have noise. In a functioning system, the signal is the work getting done, and the noise is minimal. But in the U.S. federal government, the noise has become the signal. The sensitive data the DOJ is crying about, it isn't your personal diary. It is the raw output logs of government spending. We ran the numbers. We did a first principles audit, and what we found were fatal system errors. We found Social Security numbers attached to people who, according to biological reality, should be 140 years old. That is a glitch. We found citizens collecting disability checks who have been dead since the Clinton administration. That is a latency error that costs you millions. We found single residential addresses, vacant lots, abandoned warehouses, receiving 50, 60, 100 different government checks every month. That is not a family. That is a bot farm. That is a fraud vector. When the DOJ steps in and says, you can't look at that, it's private, they are gaslighting you. They are trying to tell you that a crime scene is a private property that the police can't enter. These aren't people. These are variables in a corrupt algorithm. And the people running the machine know that, if we clean up the database, the money stops flowing. This brings us to the core architecture of the swamp, feeding the beast. You have to understand, Washington is not designed to solve problems. It is designed to monetize them. The bureaucracy thrives on opacity. It thrives on having 20 different databases that don't talk to each other. That lack of interoperability is not a bug, it is a feature. It is a security feature for the corrupt. If the systems were integrated, if the death registry automatically updated the payroll system within milliseconds, which is trivial technology, in 2026, the fraud would stop instantly. But they don't want it to stop. The complexity is the camouflage. Every layer of red tape, every privacy restriction, is a firewall designed to prevent you, the taxpayer, from seeing where your money actually goes. DOGE is the ultimate threat because we are the system admin coming in to debug the code. We are looking at the root directory. And what we see is that the entire operating system is hard-coded to steal. If we release this data, if we show the American people exactly how much money is being funneled to NGOs, to fake contractors, to ghost employees, it isn't just embarrassing, it is actionable. People go to prison, careers end, entire agencies get deleted because they serve no function other than theft. That is why you are seeing this reaction. That is why the Democrats have hit the panic button. This lawsuit is a denial of service attack against the truth. It is the weaponization of the legal system to protect the administrative state. Think about the strategy here. It is very transparent. They cannot attack our results. They can't stand at a podium and say, "We think it's bad that Elon saved taxpayers $50 billion last week." They can't say that because it sounds insane. The math is on our side. So, when you cannot attack the outcome, you attack the process. You throw sand in the gears. You claim procedural violation. You claim privacy breach. It is a distraction mechanism. They want you talking about the lawsuit so you don't talk about the findings. They want to tie us up in court discovery so we stop digging up the bodies. But this is a critical error on their part. They assume we are playing by the old political rules, where a lawsuit makes you back down. We are engineers. We don't back down from a problem, we solve it. The system is throwing every error code it has, because it knows it is being rewritten. They are trying to lock the server room door, but we are already inside. And the data we are extracting? It proves that the compassionate state is actually just a massive money laundering operation. The glitch isn't in our methods. The glitch is the government itself. And we are going to fix it. So, how do we fix a system that is actively fighting its own repair? How do we debug a machine when the antivirus software the DOJ is treating the cure like a virus? You deploy a patch, a hard, non-negotiable system update, and that is exactly what President Trump is doing. You need to understand the economics here because this isn't just about abstract billions in a spreadsheet. This hits you right at the kitchen table. Every single dollar stolen by fraudsters, every check cashed by a ghost, is a dollar taken directly from your kid's milk money. Nothing is free. There is no such thing as government money. There is only your money and the value of your labor. Think about the inflation we have been fighting. You go to the grocery store and you see the price of eggs, the price of beef, the price of gas. Why are those numbers up? The media tells you it is supply chain issues or corporate greed. That is a lie. The root cause is monetary dilution. When the government allows hundreds of billions of dollars to leak out of the system through fraud and incompetence, they don't just shrug and spend less. No, they print more. They print money to cover the hole in the bucket. And every time they print a dollar to replace a stolen one, the dollar in your savings account becomes worth a little bit less. You are working 8 hours a day, busting your back, paying your taxes, essentially to subsidize a criminal class that the Department of Justice is currently protecting. You are the battery powering a system that doesn't care about you. That is the harsh reality. And it gets worse when you look at the opportunity cost. That is a term we use in engineering. What could you have done with those resources if you didn't waste them? The billions of dollars, we are tracking the money the DOJ says we can't look at because of privacy. Where is it going? It is flowing into opaque NGOs. It is flowing into consulting firms run by friends of politicians. It is flowing into programs that do absolutely nothing for the American worker. Imagine if that capital was deployed efficiently. That is money that could have finished the border wall 3 times over. That is money that could have equipped every police department in this country with the best technology on earth to stop violent crime. Instead, your streets are less safe, your borders are open, and your wallet is empty. Also, a bureaucrat in D.C. can protect the privacy of a scam artist. It is a direct transfer of wealth from the law-abiding citizen to the law-breaking parasite. This is where the Trump patch comes in. This is why he is the only person who can solve this. A normal politician looks at a DOJ lawsuit and retreats. They call their lawyers. They look for a settlement. They back down. Trump looks at the lawsuit and sees a target designator. He understands that this is 4D chess, not checkers. The Trump strategy is not to ask for permission to fix the system. It is to force a hard reset. He understands that you cannot legislate efficiency into a corrupt system. You have to structurally dismantle the mechanisms that allow corruption to exist. When he authorized DOGE, he wasn't asking for a report. He was authorizing a counter-move against the administrative state. He sees the DOJ's reaction for what it is, the immune response of a dying organism, and his response is to increase the dosage of the cure. He is backing us to override these privacy blocks, not because he doesn't care about the law, but because he respects the supreme law of the Constitution, which says the government works for you. This is a necessary system update. It is painful. It causes errors in the short term. It makes the establishment scream. But it is the only way to prevent a total system crash, because that is the alternative. If we don't fix this now, if we let the DOJ win and hide the data, we are handing a bankrupt country to our children. That is the moral weight of this moment. We are loading our kids with debt they can never repay, just to fund the retirement of a corrupt ruling class today. It is intergenerational theft. Trump sees that. I see that. And we are drawing the line. We are going to rip out the bad code, line by line, regardless of how much the DOJ complains. We aren't just saving money, we are saving the future solvency of this republic. The patch is uploading, and there is no cancel button. Let's look at the leadership dynamic here. Why is this happening now? Because, for the first time in history, we have a president who treats the United States government like a failing business that needs a turnaround, not a charity for incompetent managers. You have to realize, Donald Trump was not hired to make Washington happy. He was hired to fire Washington. That is the mandate. That is why he is in the Oval Office. Think about this with pure common sense. Forget politics for a second. Think like a business owner. If you took over a massive corporation, and you looked at the balance sheet, and you saw that the company was bleeding trillions of dollars with zero return on investment, what is the very first thing you would do? You would order a full audit. You would demand to see every single receipt. You would want to know who is getting paid, why they are getting paid, and what they are delivering. That is standard operating procedure. That is sanity 101. If you walked into that company and the accounting department suddenly locked the doors and said, "You can't see the books, it's a violation of our privacy," you would know instantly that they are stealing from you. That is exactly what the DOJ is doing. Trump knows it. I know it. And deep down, you know it. If they had nothing to hide, they would be rolling out the red carpet for DOGE. The fact that they are suing us proves that the rot goes all the way to the foundation. But here is the difference between Trump and every other Republican who has tried this before. He doesn't blink. When the DOJ serves a subpoena, or threatens an investigation, or leaks a hit piece to the New York Times, a normal politician folds. They get scared. They worry about their polling numbers. They worry about their invite to the cocktail parties in Georgetown. Trump doesn't care. He sees the lawsuit, and he tells me to double the computing power. He tells me to dig deeper. This steadfastness is the only thing standing between your wallet and total systemic collapse. You need a leader who cannot be bought, bullied, or blackmailed by the legal system. They are throwing the kitchen sink at him and at me because they know this is the end game. And let's talk about the weapon we are using. DOGE isn't just a department. It represents a technological shift. We are bringing 21st century engineering to a 19th century bureaucracy. We are using AI and high-frequency data matching to identify fraud at a speed that human auditors can't even comprehend. We are pitting mathematics against politics. And here's the beautiful thing. Math doesn't know how to lie. An algorithm doesn't care if you are a Democrat or a Republican. It only cares if the numbers add up. If input A doesn't equal output B, it flags the error. They are terrified of this because they can't negotiate with an algorithm. You can't bribe a piece of code. Now, let me explain the practical stakes here. I want to walk you through the domino effect, the chain reaction that hits your bank account directly if we lose this fight. This isn't theoretical. If the DOJ wins, and they block DOGE from accessing this data, here's what happens. Step 1. The fraud continues unchecked. The billions of dollars flowing to dead people and fake contractors keeps flowing. Step 2. The deficit widens. The government has to borrow more money to cover the theft. Step 3. The Federal Reserve prints more cash to buy that debt. And here's where it hits you. When they print that money, the value of the dollar in your pocket collapses. That is why your grocery bill is up 30%. That is why you can't afford a mortgage. You are paying a hidden tax every single day to fund the corruption that the DOJ is protecting. Inflation is just taxation without representation. It gets darker. Think about safety. Every $1 billion wasted on a fraudulent green energy grant or a fake consultant is $1 billion that is not being spent on border security. It is $1 billion not going to equip your local police force. So, when you see crime spiking in your city, or you see the border wide open, understand that this is a resource allocation problem. The resources exist, but they are being stolen. If DOGE wins, we reverse the flow, we stop the waste, we balance the budget, we stop the money printer, inflation comes down, prices stabilize, your savings actually retain value, we free up capital to actually protect American citizens. This is the choice. It is binary. You either support the audit, or you support your own poverty. Trump understands this. He is fighting the entire legal apparatus of the swamp to protect your financial future. We are going to finish this job. The math wins. The people win. In the end, the question is simple. It is brutal, but it is simple. Do you want America to go bankrupt politely, or do you want to prosper aggressively? Because that is the choice on the table. There is no middle ground anymore. Let's play out the simulation. I want you to see the two timelines clearly. Timeline A. The deep state wins. The Department of Justice gets a friendly judge to sign an injunction. They shut down the DOGE servers. We stop the audit. The media cheers. They tell you privacy has been saved. But what actually happens? The bleeding continues. The national debt spirals past a point of no return. The dollar loses its status as the world reserve currency because the world knows we are insolvent. You continue to work harder for less money, watching your standard of living evaporate while the media tells you everything is fine. That is the path of polite decline. It ends in total economic ruin. It ends with the United States becoming a third world country with nukes. Timeline B. We win. Trump smashes through this wall of secrecy. DOGE exposes the data. We publish the names, the numbers, and the fraud. We strip away the parasites. We balance the budget for the first time in a generation. And because we stop lighting your money on fire, we lower your taxes. The economy explodes upwards, not because of fake money printing, but because of real, structural efficiency. We unleash an era of abundance. We secure the border, we secure the currency, and we secure the future. Watch the next 72 hours very closely. This is my prediction. The attacks on me are going to get vicious. The leaks against Trump are going to get wild. The legacy media is going to run 24/7's coverage, screaming that we are destabilizing the government. Good. It needs to be destabilized. It needs to be shaken until the corruption falls out of its pockets. They are going to try to scare you. They will try to make you think that transparency is dangerous. Do not fall for it. So, here is my request. Turn off the TV. Do not listen to the pundits who are paid by the very system we are dismantling. Look at your grocery bill. Look at your pay stub. Look at the interest rate on your credit card. That is the only data that matters. That is the reality. If you are tired of being ripped off, if you are tired of being treated like a subject instead of a citizen, then spread this message. Tell them you want the audit. Tell them you want the truth. We are done asking for permission. The data is already processed. The truth is already in the pipeline. We are not stopping. The age of the grift is over. Now, I want to leave you with one question to think about tonight. How long do you think a system built entirely on lies can actually survive once the lights are turned on? Let me know.